Anand, IPS, DGN, Hyderabad City Police Commissioner and Chairman of HCSC to address the audience.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Chief Guest of today's summit, D. Sridhar Babu Garu, Minister of IT and Industry, Government of Telangana, whose presence here today indicates the commitment of the state government to provide a secure and progressive digital landscape. Keynote speaker for today, Mr. Brijesh Singh, Additional DG Maharashtra and now presently with the CM's office, who despite his very busy schedule accepted our invitation and has come here and is present. His work in the realm of cyber security is an inspiration to learn from his expertise. We are eager to learn from his expertise and he has inspired many across the country. Secretary General of HCHC, Shekhar Reddy Garu, has just spoken. As a past National President of CREDAI and other positions he has occupied, he is taking a lot of interest to take HCHC to a new level. We are all with you, Shekhar Reddy Garu, and we'll all together make a real impact as we have done today. Mr. Bharami Garu, who has always been the backbone of the HCHC activities in Cyberabad and now in Hyderabad, he continues to coordinate with us and collaborate and guide us. Mr. Santosh, Joint Secretary of Cyber Security Forum, and who has been pivotal in organizing this for the second time, Hack 202. My colleague, Police Officer Shikha Goyal, who has already given her presentation and who is heading the Cyber Security Bureau of the state. Vikram, the Additional CP Law and Order, and also the convener of HCHC, and Kavita, who is the convener of the Cyber Security Forum. And all of you in the audience, the delegates, business leaders, panelists, moderators, police and government officials, and media. As chairman of HCLC, I welcome you once again, though it's a little late in the day, to this Hack Summit. And I was amazed at the first two panels and the level at which they have spoken about the topic. Hats off to you, and we are thankful that you are present today. As the Secretary General has just said, the HCHC is a public-private sector model, a PPP model, which brings government and private industry onto one platform and acts as an excellent forum for knowledge sharing, resource sharing, and other interactions. Now, many have got confused. In fact, my own officers in the morning were saying there's a hackathon today, but it's not a hackathon. We have just named it Hack. It is Hyderabad Annual Cyber Security Knowledge Summit. Hackathon is something which is different. So this is one of the signature events we want to continue in the city of Hyderabad. Basically, HCHC is planning to increase its membership base so that we have enough resources to conduct 5 signature events every year. One is the Cyber Security Summit. The second is the Women's Safety Summit, which we call the STREE Summit. Then the Narcotics Summit, Anti-Narcotics Summit, Traffic Summit, and Security Summit. So these are the 5 signature events we want to conduct every year. And I request the HCHC Secretariat to be strengthened so that it is officer-free. Even if the Commissioner of Police, as chairman, doesn't take interest, the HCHC should be in a position to carry it on. Coming to the topic today of cybercrime, there is no doubt that this is the biggest threat to governments, to businesses, and to individuals, as you have all just outlined. Hackers can take anyone to ransom and hold them hostage, as has been just outlined. Organizations can be hijacked, they can be brought down to their knees through ransomware and other tactics. And we saw very recently Telangana police websites also being hacked into, and what trouble it created. Cyber bullies can intrude into our private lives and make life miserable. We've heard of so many suicides following the loan frauds and the other sextortions which have been taking place. Now, What is the root cause of all this? It is this, our cell phones. They have become a nuisance, in fact. It is something which we can't live without, but it is also threatening our existence. Because maybe times will come when we will go back to those old Dabba phones, Nokia ones, where we'll say, okay, at least we are able to speak to each other but not get threatened. Is the day coming? AI experts? That's why she's safe. But let me tell you, we in the police force, earlier in the 90s, 80s, 90s, early 2000, we used to have our weapons with us because we were facing the Naxal issue, and we just, even under the pillow, our revolvers and pistols used to be kept. Now they are all gone. Now it is this. Without this, I am a failure as an officer. Because if I don't pick up the phone of the Honorable Chief Minister or the Honorable IT Minister, then he feels that I'm not very responsive. Similarly, I would treat my officers the same way. The only thing I said, please answer your phone, even at the dead of night, because I won't call you just like that. So this has become a necessary evil, and we need to live with it. Crime data of the country shows a 24% increase in cybercrime in 1 year, in 2023. Which compared to economic offences, which increased only by 11%, crime against women increased by only 4%, you see this substantial jump. This is a figure which I don't really trust, because in our investigations, we have seen many cases in especially northern Indian states are never even registered. People go to the station and they give a complaint, and if it's a cybercrime, they just keep the paper with them because they don't even understand what it means. They don't have the software nor the tools which many of the southern states and other progressive states are having. So this, I would say this is not 24%, but it must be 50%. Then we have 36 types of modus operandi, types of cybercrimes, and 25 of them are frequently repeated. You must have heard of data frauds, dating frauds, custom frauds, investment frauds, gaming frauds, honey traps, extortions, loan frauds, lottery frauds, OTP, SIM swapping, trading, visa and job frauds, and whatnot. These are only increasing by the day. The latest one is the digital arrest. In fact, the Honorable Prime Minister spoke about it just last week, and I must tell you, people who heard that were able to prevent their own digital arrest. I know of a doctor couple who lost 3 crores 20 lakhs just last week. Both of them highly educated, highly qualified, working in a big hospital here. But poor lady was threatened to such an extent that she believed what was happening was true. And later, when by the time the husband interfered, and they had already lost 3 crores. There was another golfer friend who went missing from 5 a.m. in the morning. The family thought he must be playing golf in Hedgie. But later he didn't answer his phone till 10 o'clock. And they got worried, they started calling me. And they got really worried, they went onto the roads, I had to alert the concerned police station. Finally, he called them back at 10:30 saying, I'm okay. It's just that someone threatened me and I transferred so much of money. Later, when they came to the cybercrime PS, realized it was a case of digital arrest. So these are highly educated, qualified, successful businessmen and IT professionals who are getting trapped in this. So what is the issue here? It is not about education. It is not about, it is just about awareness and how to tackle the situation. I have some figures for you. The teams which went to Rajasthan recently caught 28 of cyber criminals in an operation which lasted about 15 days. Now, out of those, they had 243 cases all over India, 28 in Telangana and 15 in Hyderabad city. Another operation was conducted in Gujarat, and 36 of them were arrested. They had 983 cases all over India, 20 in Hyderabad city. Now, one must realize the difficulties which the police faces in investigating these crimes. It was just discussed in the panel, but I would like to go into a little depth of that. First of all, these crimes are committed from remote locations. I just said remote areas of Rajasthan, remote areas of Gujarat, and there our teams leave, they get some digital prints, they get some evidence, they get the locations, and then they leave. But once they are there, they are faced with the entire village coming on to them. These guys are locked up in those villages, in those houses, and once they know that a police party has come from Telangana, all of them gang up, the ladies are put in front, and then just to arrest one cyber criminal, it takes so much of effort. In fact, in the last raid party which went to Gujarat, I had to speak to the IG and the concerned SPs. The DCP crime had to speak to the concerned SPs to get this arrest done, because there were huge crowds there attacking our officers. Then there is local opposition from the leaders, the politicians. They have nothing to do with Telangana. They say these are our voters, you please don't touch them. We have to produce them in the local courts. Then we have to take care of them. There should be no death in our custody. There should be nothing happening. They have to be brought all the way from Jaipur and Jodhpur all the way back to Hyderabad. That PT warrants have to be taken. They have to be produced in the court here. Then they have to be remanded. They come out in a few days, and then we don't know where they go. So that is the true story of what is happening. So we don't see the logical conclusion unless the other state, we inform the states where the cases are there. If they are interested, they come, they take them on PT warrants and go back. So these are the difficulties. I would like all of you to appreciate the difficulty and why we are not able to control this and why it is exponentially increasing, this crime of cyber crime, because it has become so safe and easy to do. The Hyderabad City Police has been able to freeze 73 crores and refund 38.5 crore in this year alone. Now, interrogating these criminals, one thing has come forth, and this is point to ponder. That is, they are saying, we are educated, we are engineers, we are this and that, but we have no job to do. Now, do we relate this to the larger issue of unemployment in our country and our education system not able to produce youth who are able or fit for that type of employment? The HCLC believes in comprehensive